Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1454, 1454, and I'm Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Café Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Today, Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer, and we'll get to a news segment of interest. How about the Bison Bentleys Do You Know Dat? We'll do that a little later on. So where was I yesterday? I didn't do a
Mike's
show.
Daily Podcast.
Because I had a bad injury on Wednesday, so I had to take the day off.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I want to tell you that Wednesday was not the best of days, and then, well, anyways, I learned a lot about my foot and how I walk, and I think that my feet and I are gonna take a talk. We're gonna have a talk. Take a talk because
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I need my feet, and my feet have this issue in that they're
Mike's
pretty wide.
Daily
So if I
Podcast.
do something like walk a lot with my wonderful dog Basil the Boxer, which you've heard me talk countlessly times, many times about that. And if I'm not wearing the right shoes, the proper shoes, I can mess up my feet, which I did on Wednesday, my right foot. And it didn't help, too, that there's a guy that I produce a show for. Look who just walked in. You know how some people get you all riled up? And some people press your buttons, and some people are like, we got to get this show recorded. Oh, my God, we got to get this stuff done. And, oh, there's a lot of... How come I can't hear myself in my headphones? Blah, blah, blah. How come the microphone isn't on? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, calm the bleep down. Jesus. Look who else walked in. So some people get me, and I've decided that I'm not going to let those people affect me anymore. That's my plan stand. Because as I was running around trying to help this guy out, back and forth, I hit my foot really hard on the ground. I was doing a pivot move, kind of like what basketball players do, and they stop really fast and they hold the ball and they're like trying to find someone to pass to or make a basket or whatnot. And I've just made my first sports analogy on my show. Thank you very much. So that's what happened. I stopped really fast because he asked a question. And that's when something slipped in my foot, and I was in utter pain for the rest of the day.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Thankfully, a really nice guy I work with, also named Mike, who I've poked fun at in the past. He's poked fun at me, but he came to my aid in such a way. He had a foot doctor that he knew off the top of his head, called him up, got me in. He even helped me get my bags down to my car. Whilst some of my other coworkers were still laughing at me, thinking I was faking it. I hate that. I know I'm a jovial, fun guy, but don't make fun at my expense with issues that I'm having. Jeez. So he helped me get down to my car because I couldn't walk. He didn't carry me. Then it would have been An Officer and a Gentleman, which I've only seen parts of that movie. I've never sat through the whole thing. But it's a movie that's out there that had the "They lift us up where we belong." Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes. So I want to thank him for helping me because he got me... Oh, he gave me a chair that had rollers on it, so I kind of just put my leg on the chair, and the other chair I used is kind of almost like a scooter. It was a scooter situation that I was doing to get to my car. It was just a crazy day. And then all out of the blue, my mom calls me. She had no idea what was going on. How did she know to call me? Because her son was having leg or foot issues. That was amazing. The mother-son connection. It's a mother and son reunion. Paul Simon song that I didn't sing very well just then. But yeah, that's what happened on Wednesday. I also got a text from Haley, who used to do the Daily Haley, and Haley said to me, hey, your last show, it sounded like the ghost of Fred Astaire was doing a dance all over your vocals when you were doing your show last time because you were criticizing that Evita musical that you saw in Florida. And yeah, we were having technical issues on Wednesday as well. So Wednesday was not a good day. A lot of days this week were not very good. Monday was horrible, as you well know, Tom Petty, Las Vegas. But yesterday was a pretty good day because towards the end of the day, the foot was starting to hurt less and less, and that was good. And then I got to see Sylvia, my only listener, aside from Haley. Thank you, Sylvia, for listening. And we had a long chat. We met at a coffee place in Hayward called Echo, E-K-O, Echo, where we saw, and I should have made that the podcast picture today, of this big pumpkin that they were unloading from a truck right across from where we were sitting. But it's on B Street in Hayward. And let me tell you, if you want to see some of the worst drivers in the world sit at Echo Coffee and watch them drive down one-way street B Street, some of the biggest idiots you've ever seen behind the wheel. Oh my gosh, bad drivers in Hayward. So they were unloading these huge pumpkins. Right across the street is the Buffalo Bills brewery / restaurant. And I think they were putting the big pumpkins in there in celebration of, I think, a new pumpkin beer they're releasing. And, of course, October, pumpkins, that sort of thing. And we're lucky to get to Half Moon Bay once in a blue moon. It's so hard to get to Half Moon Bay because of all the traffic, but they've got enormous pumpkins growing there. It's like the pumpkin capital of the world. So that was my Wednesday, my Thursday. I think we're all caught up, except we haven't talked to any of the characters that walked in. Let's say hi to them now.
Oh, Mike Matthews, it's Chely Shoehart, the chef supervisor. Oh my god, that's quite a story you had. I'm glad your foot's feeling better and stuff. What's that on your foot?
That's a big boot that I have on my foot.
Oh.
Yeah, and the foot doctor is German and cute and around my age and just like a knockout, but, you know, very helpful. And she was telling me exactly what was wrong with my foot. It was so helpful to hear that information. But at one point she said, I'm going to give you a boot to put on so it will absorb the weight of you so you won't be putting that weight on your foot. I said, thank you. And I go, by the way, did you know that boot in German is, when you say boot, you mean boat? Boat. And she looked at me like, what the heck? So that was Mike trying to be funny and referencing the language of German. And she was from Hamburg, as is the lady who you hear at the beginning of every show, Go Mike's Daily Podcast. So that was great. See how it all comes back around?
What is this?
I have no idea. I was just trying to explain things and was not funny in any way. But yeah, Das Boot. Remember that movie, Das Boot, about the boat, the submarine? The under the water, it wasn't Nazis. I think it was the First World War. So whatever the Germans caused in trouble were called then. Germans, I think, is what they were called in World War I. So, I think we're all caught up. Oh, two more characters to say hi to. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. That was fascinating. All that stuff you talked about. Can we leave now? Yeah, go ahead. All right. Ow, I hit my head. They hit their head as they left Café Anyway. Anyway, Mike'sDailyPodcast.com is where you can go to hear all the past shows if you'd like to subject yourself to that and see the past podcast pictures and all that wonderful stuff. Mike'sDailyPodcast.com, and you can help us out through the Amazon link. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, go through that link at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. And there is also the, thing? Oh, the PayPal if you'd like to help us out that way. All right, that's all I had to say about that. Now let's get to the segment called
It's Bison Bentley's Do You Know Dat?
Hey, this is Bison Bentley, and Mike Matthews has a couple of stories that'll make you want to ask yourself, do you know that? Do you know that?
Thank you, Bison Bentley. Sylvia and I were discussing about how people, for the most part, news that affects people are getting sick of the news. So I'm going to reach for a little less of a depressing story and something a little more uplifting, and that is the 2017 Nobel Peace Prize was awarded today to the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, or ICANN, which isn't that also the internet company that keeps a track of all the domain names and whatnot? The Nobel Committee honored the Geneva-based group, quote, for its work to draw attention to the catastrophic humanitarian consequences of any use of nuclear weapons and for its groundbreaking efforts to achieve a treaty based on prohibition of such weapons. ICANN is a coalition of non-governmental organizations from around 100 different countries around the globe. The committee said ICANN has given the movement toward the world without nuclear weapons a new direction and a new vigor. Yay, good job, ICANN. Not to be confused with Gwyneth Paltrow, who is eye candy. What? That wasn't necessary. And then Apple. Speaking of Apple, which is Gwyneth Paltrow's, daughter, son? I don't know. It's a kind of a unisex name, isn't it? Multi-sex name? Chris Martin, Gwyneth Paltrow had a son. It's son, isn't it? Apple. So their new iPhone, Apple's new iPhone, the company that makes billions and zillions of dollars every year. The new iPhones are the talk of the technology world, but following the chaotic launch of the iOS 11 and two equally problematic updates, reports of a serious fault with the iPhone 8. Plus, it's the last thing Apple needed was this. Apparently, no one has gone over this article to check for grammatical errors, because there's a bunch. Apple confirmed it is investigating report. Thank you, Forbes, for your crappy article. Investigating reports the iPhone 8 Plus is suffering from a severe battery failure, which literally causes the sides of the smartphone to burst open. What? You mean to tell me that after all the grief they gave Samsung for their exploding phones, now iPhone's got exploding phones? That's crazy. Oh, there goes one right now. Apple confirmed it is investigating reports the iPhone 8 Plus is suffering from severe battery failure. Currently, incidents are limited. Popular Apple site MacRumors reports several more. But there's clearly something this is clearly something Apple's taking very seriously. Apple has launched 3 new iPhones, with the iPhone 8 Plus has received reports of a serious battery problem. At this stage, little is known about the fault, though the Independent states Apple believes the problem is caused by battery swelling, and it is not thought to pose a safety concern like Samsung's infamous problem with exploding Galaxy Note 7 batteries. That said, Apple has its own battery problems during the last year and initiated a battery recall program for some iPhone 6s models. Following Apple and Samsung's problems, scrutiny of smartphone batteries, their reliability and safety has been a top priority across the industry. Samsung, in particular, has made dramatic strides towards it. In 2017, they have launched its class-leading 8-point battery safety check program and substantially reduced annual battery decay in its latest smartphones. So, as we go outside of Café Anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. I don't even know what language that last article was written in. Jeez Louise. Hey, here, I'd like to speak to you in a language you know, and that would be coffee, because we do serve coffee at Café Anyway. It's crap, but I would like to tell you that Peet's Coffee, I don't know what's going on there. I haven't been in a Peet's in a long time. I finally went in on Wednesday before all of my foot problems. And I went in there, and their menu, and I think Starbucks is doing the same thing. What they're trying to do is they're trying to emulate Phil's Coffee's menu. Phil's Coffee is really popular here in the Bay Area. They've got several. It's a chain in the Bay Area. And what they do is they basically a la carte everything. It used to be if you ordered a mocha, Well, that meant a mocha with whipped cream on it. And that's just what you got. And the whipped cream was included. Now, everything is a la carte. So, if you want a mocha at Peet's, you've got to order the mocha. And if you want anything like added syrup-wise, that's a charge. If you want whipped cream, that's a charge. Their menu is just really confusing now. I don't like, it's broken down because I guess the younger generation, they don't want everything included. They want everything separate. They want it Burger King. Have it your way at Burger King. Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce, da-da-da-da-da. So that's what I discovered, and I don't like Peet's anymore. And the barista, some nice guy said to me, well, what you should get is a delicious, what did he say? It's a pumpkin mocha. And I go, okay, I'll try that. It was horrible. Horrible. And it came out to like $6 for a stupid, horrible pumpkin mocha. Ugh. Never gonna get that again. And I think that was a wonderful song by Eric Carmen. Never gonna get a pumpkin latte with chocolate in it. That was such a bad idea. Thank you for listening to today's show. Next show, it's gonna be the wonderful, Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. By the way, at my job, I'm not getting up at all. If anyone wants me to get up for anything, they're going to have to pick me up and take me to whatever they want me to get. I'm just going to say that right now, and I hope that cleared everything up. Okay, hopefully talk to you on Sunday. Hope your foot feels fine.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!
Oops, I didn't tell you what the podcast picture is. You've probably seen it if you've looked at the website or on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Mike's Daily Podcast. The podcast picture today, or on Instagram, Mike's Daily Podcast. The podcast picture today is of the view from the wonderful place that my mom and I went to. It was super hot, though. We had to sit out on the patio, and my mom's a smoker, so they made us sit out in the patio, and it was humid as heck, and I was sweating like a pig. And all that wonderful imagery, just to tell you that that's a view from Sunsetters in Daytona Beach. And way off in the distance, you can't really see it in the photo, but there is a boat sitting on an island. Hurricane Irma had picked up the boat, a sailboat, and sat it on the island. It's way off there in the distance, but that was a beautiful time from the trip. Got it to spend with my mom, and you can see that picture there at mikesdailypodcast.com.